Hello and welcome to the first video in an introductory series for Phasmophobia. I haven't made one of these series in a while, so I figured with the changes to the game, I'd start a new series. So when you load in the game, either on console, VR headset, or PC or whatever, this is what you'll see, this big space. We usually call it the garage. Some people call it the warehouse because of the size. It wasn't always like this. The original garage was much smaller. However, when they decided to add in other things such as these trophies over here, I'll get to that in a second, and a new store, I obviously needed a bigger space. So right here is our main menu. This has recently been changed. It allows you to go into single player, multiplayer, training, but it also now mentions Twitch drops, which they've just introduced the first one. You've got options, credits, and be able to exit the game. We've also got daily tasks, these little challenges for a little bit of extra money you can do. And obviously, because they're daily, they reset, in a period of 24 hours. And then we have weekly, same idea, and they reset every week for more money. There's also challenge mode, task, whatever you want to call it, um, where you have to guess the ghost on a specific map with a specific challenge. Now, this video is not going to go into all of that. I'm just going to start by showing you around the garage. Now, you've got the various maps that you can play on over here. Um, it tells you the number of rooms and uh, floors on a map when you select it. Um, this shows you the various models of equipment that you can get. There's three of them. There's tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. We'll be going over equipment step by step here. But as you can see, all sorts of different equipment. I mean, you can't really get those briefcases, or at least not yet. And they've recently introduced the sound recorders, which are over here. Now, you can't actually pick these up. And then over here, we have the trophy cases. First case is bones, which mine is completely full, but every time you collect a specific bone, it'll appear in this trophy case, and the idea is to collect the entire set. It also lets you know what you'll be looking for when you are looking for a bone at the location. I'll get into that later. And then here's the various cursed possessions that exist in the game. I'll go over those in a later video, but once you've used them, um, they appear over here. And then over here we have trophies for various events um, that if seasonal events that have happened. I've got a bunch of them. I don't have all of them. And they've recently introduced trophies for achievements. I've gotten all but two. And then I think these are really cool. Every time you encounter a certain ghost type and successfully complete the investigation, you get a trophy for that. And so these are all the 24 types of ghosts that are out there. Going over here, you're probably not going to have this plaque, but a number of years ago they changed the leveling system, and this lets you show off whatever level you had before August 17th, 2023. Um, this door is mysterious; it doesn't do anything anymore. And then here we have the event board. You can complete challenges for specific rewards. I've completed some of them. Um, As you can tell, Achievement Hunter, no, 51 out of 54. So I'm probably missing something. And going up these stairs, here are some little games that you can play to get yourself used to some of the basic controls. Now I should go over controls. I'll start with options, and you can see them over here. If you're on PC, mouse and keyboard, you can actually modify the controls. I don't think you can do that for controller or VR. And it's only showing the mouse and keyboard controls here. That's what I'm going to focus on. W, WASD for the typical movement, and then use and hold use, which I guess now are different. It can be different buttons. By default, they're the right button. There's times where you'll use and there's times when you'll hold use. Placing, which is F, running, which is shift, which in the options you can set it to either toggle or hold down. I believe I have it set to hold down. Crouching, grabbing, dropping, special, which is T, and then headgear toggle. For the most part, you're just using T with the flashlights and the headgear. Cycling through the items that you have is Q, but you can also use the mouse wheel to do the same thing. J brings the journal, and then you've got push to talk, local and global. Um, the local one is toggleable, like it can just work off voice activation. I think that's the most immersive way to play the game. But if you don't want every single thing you say or express, vocally to be out there, you can have the local push to talk, and then global push to talk is a radio. Um, you're really only going to use that if you do multiplayer. And for some seasonal events, there'll be something over here, like at Christmas time, there was a Christmas tree. Halloween, there was a blood moon. There's no event going on right now, so there's nothing extra special up. Then you've got the truck here. Get familiar with the layout of this when you do investigations. I'm going to go a little bit more into detail later, but this allows you to at least see what you should be expecting, except there's no equipment up here on the pegboards on the left. And oddly enough, it's the old computer setup. It hasn't been updated for this. I don't know why. And then here's some previous photos that were taken and some investigations. Actually, that's not even showing the. That's weird. Maybe they just haven't updated that. Well, my first advice is to get used to the basic controls. Use the mouse to look, crouching, moving around. I'd say get used to how some of the things work by picking stuff up. Like there's a Jenga set that I'm just picking it up with E and just launching it out there with G, which is drop. And so on and so forth. Get you used to how objects move around and such. If you've never played before, or you don't feel confident, start with the training, load up the training, and we'll take a look at that right now.
Welcome to your first day at Ghost Hunting Distribution. Read the whiteboard to get started.
All right, so this is actually still not accurate how it looks in the investigation, which is weird. But this just gives you the basic controls here. And then you see the monitors, but they don't do anything. And it's just starting you off with a flashlight, which I'm going to pick up with E. And then you can right click to turn it on. Now, if you don't have flashlight selected, you can hit T to turn it on that way. That way you can toggle the flashlight when you have another item. And then the key, always remember that. Left click on the keypad. And then again, this just shows you some basic controls. The door, you're grabbing it with the left mouse button, and then you can move it with the mouse or forward movement. So it doesn't just auto open. You can open up a crack, close it slowly, quickly, whatever. So we've got room 1. It's just picking up objects. And the door. Now, there's a simulated ghost in this room. In a second,
Head
it's
through
going
the
to do
door to
something.
the next section.
Well, what it did, I didn't see anything, but it did something. It's supposed to move one of the objects. I didn't see anything move, but that's fine. Okay, we're going to the next room. Oh, just heard a sound, so it must have tossed something. Oh, must have tossed this over here. So then it talks about sanity here, and that's the main statistic that a player has. It's does a couple of different things, but think of it in some ways almost like health, but it's not. You'll notice that one of them is at 48, 50, 51. It'll be constantly moving a little bit, so it'll give you an approximate value. I would say just assume the lowest value that you see, so 48. Eventually, you'll get access to some sanity medication, which you can use to bring your sanity up. It's not a starting item, so it'll be a
Good job.
good number of videos until we get up to it. Now, the important thing with sanity is when it gets below a certain threshold, the ghost can hunt, which it can then kill you or somebody else on your team if multiplayer. Okay, the next room, this is about lighting. Every location will have a power box like this, but only so many lights can be turned on at a location. If you turn off too many, see, turn one, okay, that's
Well done.
two, it flicked the breaker, but then you have to turn the breaker back on to be able to turn on something. So you always want to be careful how many lights you have on. If you're in the dark, you start to lose sanity. I don't know about in the training here, but okay. So the first instrument this introduces you to is the Tier 1 EMF reader. Right-click to turn it on. Just because it's moving just a little bit here, that's fine. It's necessarily giving a reading. So what you'll do is you'll want to move it around until you get some kind of reading. Again, simulated ghost here. It should do something in a second. Oh, just move this cup. So now that was a EMF 3. You'll see where the needle went past the 3. Okay, so there's evidence of a ghost here. Not sure where the other tap, tap, tap was, but... Oh, what was that? Another... Yep, there you go. The EMF reader has a certain range. The Tier 1 is the weakest of the 3, so keep it in mind. EMF 2 or 3 indicates a ghost interaction or an ability. Let's put that down for the moment and go through the door. So, I mean, I can actually go through the door. Oh, maybe I can't. Maybe I'm waiting on it to do something. It's strange.
Nice
Oh,
work.
that's an EMF 5. That's important if you see that. Okay, that's what I was waiting on. Okay, let's put that down. Move on to the next room. This is ultraviolet, so you can see UV handprints on a lot of things, doors, windows, some on the floor, etc. You won't always see this. This depends the ghost that you're dealing with. So this also acts like a light source too. If you want it easier to see, turn off the regular flashlight. And here's some examples. Regular old handprint, and then looking at the door.
Well done.
Much like the EMF 5, you'll only get it in some cases. So the next one is freezing temperatures. So the Tier 1 thermometer is a little mercury thermometer. You're going around from room to room, seeing which one's the coldest, because that's the ghost's favorite room. Probably this room, maybe. You know, the Tier 1 thermometer takes a little bit of time to start registering temperature changes. This one's also cold. It goes below 5 Celsius or 41 Fahrenheit. You'll start to see your breath. In some previous versions, that indicated freezing temperatures, but it doesn't anymore. it gets below 0 Celsius or 32 Fahrenheit, that will be count as freezing temperatures. So,
Move
yep,
to
now
the
we're
next
getting
room.
freezing temperatures. Moving forward, we've got dots. Why is it called dots? Actually, you know what? I should turn on cursor here. All right. Now, tier 1 dots is just like a laser pointer, projects a field of dots. That field is 3D, even though it may not look like it. So this is another bit of evidence that you can get from certain ghosts. This is just showing little, like, sheet over a ghost kind of thing. You won't see this, and it'll be moving in actual games.
Good job.
So let's drop that. You could also use it as a bit of a light source too. Next is ghost orbs. You've got a tier 1 video camera. It's kind of hard to see because it's got a small screen. Right clicking also toggles night vision. Night vision is a lot easier for seeing ghost orbs. Now, since you can actually record evidence by holding down the right mouse button or the hold use button. In this case, we found ghost orbs, so that's another potential piece of evidence.
Nice work.
And we recorded it. Did it actually? Yeah, it did. See, recorded it. Not that we can make any money, I don't think, off the training. We have ghost writing. Well, there's the ghost writing book. Sometimes we call it the journal, but that can be a bit confusing. Tier 1 is just a little loose leaf notebook thing, spiral, whatever. And then what you do is you want to, if you drop it, it's not deployed. You actually need to use F and put it in a spot and wait to see if the ghost actually writes in it. It can take a little while too in actual investigations.
Well
But
done.
yeah, there you go. Picked up the pencil and started writing. What the ghost actually writes has no effect. It's purely cosmetic at this point. Maybe in the future that'll change. Next one is Spirit Box, and this tends to be one of the mainstays in the game, as the ghost can recognize phrases as well as some of the cursed possessions like the Ouija board, so you can talk to the game. You right click, you'll see that light on the left there indicating that it's on, and you'll hear the static. So you go into the room. Where are you? How old are you? Why are you angry? If it recognizes a phrase, you get a little bit of a red light there on the right. Where are you? How old are you? Now, the spirit box will only work if the room that you're trying it in, the lights are off, so let's do that. Where are you? How old are you? Yeah,
Good job.
it'll pick a radio response to respond to it. That's changed over the years. We had a robot voice and we had a demon voice, and now we have radio clips. Many of the radio clips are done by community personalities. Next, we're dealing with the hunt. Now, to add some risk to the game, there's situations where the ghost can basically manifest, lock you out of leaving the location, and if it finds you, it can kill you, and then you're done. In a multiplayer game, it has to kill everybody for the investigation to be a complete bust. But I'll go into that again later. You'll also have a grace period timer on the lower difficulties. This one just says 5 minutes. So we're going to walk in.
Something's not quite right.
Uh-oh.
Better hide.
What?
Quickly. That was a close one. Congratulations on completing your training. You can exit
Yeah,
through the truck by
it's a little
interacting
more
with the keypad.
complicated usually. But anyways, that's the training module. It's okay. But before this, we just had a special little thing on Tanglewood, which is the first map. And we're all done.
Welcome back. I've got some jobs
All
ready
right,
for
well,
you.
that's the training module. So until next time, have a good one.